Good day, everyone, and welcome to Sisters Keeper podcast. I'm Dr. C, your host. This podcast is all about women connecting with women and women supporting women on the different challenges, um, triumphs, joys that they may have as they're navigating through their life's journey. So, today we have a very interesting topic that we're going to talk about, and that is surrogacy. So we have Miss Toneka with us, and she's going to give us her insight and her experience on surrogacy. Hey there, Miss Toneka, how are you?
Hi, I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you. Welcome to Sisters Keeper podcast. It's a blessing to have you with us.
Glad to be here.
Thank you so much. So we're talking about surrogacy, and this is not something that people talk about every day. We know that it happens, but we ourselves may not be involved. We might not know anybody who is involved. So I think this is going to be a really good one to talk about. So
Okay.
let's start with explaining to us what exactly is surrogacy.
Surrogacy is when a woman, I'm going to bluntly say it, sacrifices her body to help another couple have a child of their own. There's two types of surrogacy. There's gestational and there's traditional. Gestational is what I did, where I'm not a biological, it's not my eggs. It's
Okay.
solely the couple's fertilized egg and sperm. And then traditional is when the surrogate's eggs are used.
Oh, okay. Interesting. So the traditional is when the surrogate eggs are used, so she is then biologically connected to that child.
Yes,
Okay. All right. Very good. So you already stated that you participated in gestational surrogacy.
yes.
Okay. All right. Now, um, are there any specific qualifications that a woman would need to meet in order to be a surrogate?
Well, they for sure want you to have children already, at least one,
Okay.
for psychological reasons. Being if you were to if it's your first time and you don't have any children, you're more prone to not want to let the baby go when you give birth. So they
Okay.
prefer for you to have children already. They also want you to be healthy, not necessarily at a certain weight, but they do want you to be healthy. They give you a psychological test, to make sure that you're okay with letting the baby go when you give birth. Um, that's pretty much it.
Okay. So healthy, mentally and physically healthy.
Yes,
Okay.
yes,
And already a mother.
yes.
Okay, very good. Now, what made you decide that you wanted to be a surrogate?
My body was craving to be pregnant. I was happy. I mean, I'm healthy. My body was still working, although I got a tubal ligation in 2004. So I
Oh,
couldn't have children of my own anymore unless I went through IVF or something. But I wasn't in a position to take care of another child, but my body was craving to be pregnant. There were like hormones just raging. So I was like, how can I, be pregnant again or have that feeling of being pregnant without actually having to take care of the child? Because I already had, kids already. So the doctor was like, well, could be a surrogate to help a family out. And I'm like, you know what? That would be great. So I started looking into it, found a company, and that's how it got started.
okay, so you had this desire, like you said, your body was craving to be pregnant, so you discussed it with your doctor.
Yes.
Okay, and the doctor was the one who made the suggestion. So you had never thought about it prior to his suggestion?
No, I had never thought about it. It's never even crossed my mind. I mean, I've seen commercials here and there, but it just didn't, it didn't dawn on me. So it was just a craving my body had. It's like, you know what, my body still works. I could, when he suggested surrogacy, and I'm like, yeah, I could bless somebody else with the child. I don't necessarily want any more children, but since my body is still able, why not help somebody else?
Okay, and how long, if you remember, from the time he made the suggestion and you started looking into it, did you actually move forward with it?
It was probably about 6 months.
Okay, that's relatively quick.
It was about
Okay.
6 months. Yeah.
All right, very good. Now, let's go a little bit further into your experiences. So, how many times did you actually attempt to be a surrogate, and how many times were you successful?
I attempted twice and I was successful once.
Okay.
So the first time that I was a surrogate, it was flawless. Everything it went great. You know, the second time I had some complications, uh, because of my age as well. When I first did it, I was 34. And you
Okay.
know, when you're 35 and over, they consider you high risk. So the second time that I did it, I was 35 going into 36, and it was twins. So there were a couple of things that, you know, caused complications when I did it the second time.
Okay. So the first time you said it was flawless. So how long between the first time and everything worked out well to the second attempt? How much time had passed?
Let's see, she was about 9 months.
Okay, so you had delivered, and then about 9 months later, you were trying to do it again.
Yes.
Okay, and do you mind sharing with us what happened the second time?
The second time, it was with twins. Well, they put 2 eggs, they inserted 2 eggs the first time and the second time, just to be for sure that at least one of the eggs take. Because
Okay,
sometimes your body rejects them and,
okay,
you know, nothing happens. So the second time, both eggs accepted. But by the time I was 17 weeks, for some reason, I started having complications. My water broke, and I was forced to deliver one of the twins. They were in separate bags. So it was a boy and girl. The boy came out first at 17 weeks. And they told me that it's difficult to try to keep the second one, however, it is possible, but it's a risk. So I made the decision to try to keep the second one because when they did an ultrasound, the girl on the ultrasound, she had her thumb up. And I was like, well, I think that's the cue to try to hang in there, you know? So she survived 2 more weeks, but unfortunately at 19 weeks, my water broke again and their lungs were not fully developed. So, but I got to see them being born, got to lotion them up and everything and spend time with them before, you know, their last
they
breaths
were
attempted.
actually delivered. They were
Yeah.
actually delivered. Okay, but their organs weren't fully developed.
Yes, their lungs weren't fully developed, so they couldn't get any. Now, had they made it to 22 weeks, they have equipment to help baby stay alive from 22 weeks on. But I
Okay,
was shy of the 22 weeks, so they weren't going to make it.
right, because that's not even half the time. The regular
Right.
40 weeks, that's not even half the time. Okay, now for the family, how did that impact that family?
They were devastated, but it became complicated towards the more months into the pregnancy. Their personalities kind of changed. They were more concerned about the babies being sick. You know, when you go to doctor appointments and they're from Italy, they came, they had an interpreter and everything, and the doctor was explaining to them possible complications that come with twins.
Okay,
So the parents were starting to get concerned because they were asking me, like, can I guarantee that the babies are going to be fine? And I said, no, I cannot guarantee that. I don't want to, you know, and they were starting to seem like they thought they could just go on a computer and make these perfect babies where they don't have any health complications.
right.
And they were concerned because they have jobs. They said they don't have time to be take caring sick children.
Okay,
So I started praying, you know, praying to God, asking the Lord to take control because I was unsure as to whether these parents were fit, just in case, what if they did have any complications as twins? You know what I
right,
mean? What if they're born early? What if they're a little preemie? They got to be in the NICU for a little while. So that bothered me because I care about children a lot, whether they're mine or not. Any child that's in my presence, I treat them like they're my own. So I was very concerned with that. So I just prayed and prayed and prayed, and the end results were what they were. The parents were devastated. They texted me and said, we're sorry that this happened, but please do not contact us anymore.
mhm,
We don't want any involvement. And so, yeah. And I had complications where almost bled out. So I was rushed to surgery. I had to get 3 transfusions and platelets and antibiotics because the placenta was purged or stuck and wouldn't come out. So they had to surgically remove it. And to get that text, it was kind of devastating for me too. But the good part, they abandoned the twins and left them at the hospital. So the hospital kept contacting me because since I delivered them, I was responsible for them. So I had to get them cremated, and I still have their ashes and all their pictures and everything. So they're safe.
Wow, that's a lot. Wow. Okay.
Right,
First,
right,
just the fact that they're asking you as if though you're God, if this baby's
right.
going to be perfectly healthy. Nobody can guarantee that with
Exactly,
any child,
exactly.
and every parent who is expecting a child is praying that the baby is going to be quote unquote normal, a healthy child.
Right,
Nobody would ever wish any type of sickness, malfunction, deformity, or anything like that on their child, but they deal with it.
right,
Um,
exactly.
and then it just gets worse from there. I mean, it's just compounded from there. But God knows best.
I couldn't guarantee them anything. For one, they're not my eggs. They did not have my DNA. I don't
Right.
know what's in the DNA or the genes of their family history. So there's
Exactly.
no way that me or the doctor or anybody could guarantee that these babies will be perfectly healthy.
Right. You're just the host.
Right, exactly. So
Mm.
there was conflict with that.
Did they
Like
have children
consistent.
already? Do you know if they had children prior to?
No, they did not. They did not.
Okay. All right. Well, so I'm glad you're here to tell the story. It's
Yeah,
not a pleasant story, but at least you survived that and
right,
you're able to, um, you know, share what could possibly happen in your attempt to give life and to increase somebody else's family. A
right,
desire that they have that they're unable to fulfill. It's a blessing to have people who have a heart like you to want to be able to assist because not
right.
everybody would desire to do that. So just, you having the heart and the desire and enough compassion for other people, I applaud you for that. Even though
Thank
that
you.
wasn't unsuccessful, but just like you said at the beginning, when I asked you to define surrogacy, it makes perfect sense. The why you just defined it the way that you did. It makes a lot of sense now looking back.
Right. It still
Okay.
turned out to be a blessing, though. One of my their clients, her and her husband have been trying to have a child together for years and years and years. She kept, having miscarriages, miscarriages, miscarriages. And I told her, like, she told me she was pregnant again. And I'm like, don't post it on Facebook. Just wait until you're out of the danger zone. And this was right after I had miscarried. She found out she was pregnant again. And I said, don't post it on Facebook this time. Just wait till you're out of the danger zone.
Hmm.
And she waited and she ended up finding out she was pregnant with twins.
Mm.
And
Okay.
so she texted me and she was like, oh, this is so crazy. You just lost a set of twins. I'm pregnant with twins after 10 years of trying. And she found out the sex of the children, and it was a boy and a girl.
Mm.
So when she gave birth to the babies, I was there with her. She made me the godmother. So I still got to watch a set of boy and girl twins grow up happily
Oh, that's awesome. And how old are
with
they now?
some great parents.
That's good. And how old are those twins now?
They're 6 now.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
That's good. Now, my next question for you is, so the first one, your first attempt at surrogacy was successful. Was it difficult for you to release the child to the parents?
No, not at all. The parents were great. They were very involved. They would fly down from Italy. They cooked for me. We're still in contact. They were great. They were very family oriented. They still want me to know, they still want me to know her or want us to know each other. They stay in contact. I actually have plans on going there next summer so I could spend time with them over in Italy. But it was great. It was great.
That's nice. Now, when they had her, was she their first child?
Yes.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
good. And how old is she now?
She will be 10 December 26th.
Okay, awesome, awesome. Okay, so that was going to be the next question I was going to ask you, being in contact. So that's good. You're still in contact.
Yeah.
And so how is your relationship with her? And like, what does she call you? How does she refer to you?
Well, she doesn't call me anything yet,
Okay.
but she speaks another language. They're starting to teach her English.
Hmm.
So she's learning, and I have to learn to understand her English accent when she's saying things. Like they had her read a Christmas card to me, and I was listening. I had to listen to it a couple of times. She has a very strong accent, but she
Okay.
does
Wait,
know who I
Italian?
am, but she can't quite say my name yet.
Okay. Okay.
So
They
we're
speak
going to find something for her to call me, though. But she does know who I am. We do talk via through Messenger on Facebook, so they have her call me and everything.
okay. So they speak Italian?
Yes.
Okay. So you don't know Italian and she doesn't know English and she's learning English
No.
so you guys can
She's
communicate.
learning English. She
Okay.
has dual citizenship too because she was born here, and then they had to live here for 3 months to get her passport to go back over there.
Oh, okay. Okay. So they lived here from the time she was born until she was 3 months old, or they came here a
Yeah,
little bit before she was born?
they actually had to come early because she came about a month earlier than expected.
Okay.
So they were here. Yeah, they were here for about 3.5 months before they went back to Italy. Once
Okay.
they got her passport, then they went back, and I was breastfeeding for a while and then pumping and freezing after that.
Okay. Nice. So you were able to create a bond with her.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Very nice. Now, as you were going through your first surrogacy with the 10-year-old who's now 10 years old, and then the second and losing the twins, did you have women in your life who supported you, helped you, mentally, physically, emotionally through everything that you had to go through, the good and the bad and the indifferent?
Yes, I had a couple of my hair clients because they kind of knew everything that was going on because they need their hair done. So when they can't get their hair done, they're like, "What's going on?" So there were a few that got more involved. They would come to the house and check on me because I couldn't braid for a while after the miscarriage with the twins. So they
Hmm.
would come to the house and check on me and check on me throughout the times and all the way until I got better and was back braiding again. So I really appreciate them for that.
Okay, that's good. So they came and they gave you that moral support and physical support that you needed.
Yes, they even went to the doctor appointments with me a couple of times
That's good. That's good.
so
And how
that
do you
the
think,
strain wouldn't be on my kids.
right? Because were they young at the time, your children?
Yes,
Okay. And how do you think it would have been different if those women were not present in your life?
it would have been very difficult. It would have been very difficult. It probably could have pushed me into a depression. I already had a lot of blood loss. The parents just pretty much disowned me, didn't want any more involvement. The company was in contact with me, but it was more business than anything as far as me getting the ashes. That was hard to do as well, because I was so sad that they just abandoned them and didn't, they really didn't want anything to do with it. I'm like, this is your DNA and you're just leaving it behind. So if they weren't there, it would have been very much more difficult, way difficult.
Okay. Well, thank God for their presence in your life and helping you through that trying time. I
Yeah,
could only imagine, uh, when you stepped up to the plate to help them in their time of need, and then in your time of need, they closed the door.
exactly.
Yeah, that's really
It was
difficult,
very
but I'm so
devastating.
glad. And that's what this show is all about. Sisters Keeper is the sisters that are keeping you sane,
Right.
healthy, encouraged, uplifted through the different seasons of life that we go through.
Yes, it's definitely needed.
Absolutely. So what advice would you give to another woman who may have never been a surrogate before and may be considering being a surrogate? What advice would you give to her?
I tell her to do her research, make sure she gets therapy, to get a therapist to make sure she can handle it mentally.
Okay.
Make sure she takes vitamins, the necessary nutrients, get her body prepared. But the main thing is to make sure she's mentally prepared for it. And to do it at a younger age, not too close to the age where you're at high risk.
Okay. For her own safety and the
Yes,
safety of
for her
babies.
own safety, yes.
Okay. That's good advice. Do you know personally of any surrogates who, even after going through the physical exam, the psychological exam, still had difficulty relinquishing those children? Do you happen to know of any cases?
Not necessarily, they didn't have a problem with giving up the child at that time, but they did go through postpartum depression after.
Mm, because of the
But
absence of child?
yes,
Okay.
yeah. So, but once again, when you have people to support you and people to talk to and to get therapy, it kind of helps you to get through it. But when there is no one, you're dependent on your own mind and your own thoughts, and it could cause chaos. So it's always good to have extra support, extra therapy, mentors, any type of extra help that you can get.
That's good. That's really good advice because sometimes people may think they're really prepared and ready for a situation, but sometimes you don't know until you're actually in it or after the fact, after you've gone through all the steps and now you're just here by yourself. Sometimes you don't know what can happen. We can't predict the
Right,
future. And if it's a situation that we've never been in, we don't know how we're going to respond. So that's
exactly.
really, really good advice. And I hope anyone who watches this episode of the podcast and are considering being a surrogate will actually take that to heart because that sounds
Right.
really, really
There's also like surrogate groups you can join, different chat sessions you can join to talk to other surrogates, surrogate mothers to get advice from them as well, or just to have that extra support. But it's also good to have somebody physically that you can see or talk to or,
right.
conversate with on the phone or be able to go to have brunch or, somebody to go to the doctor appointments with you. That helps a great deal as well.
Okay, like a support system.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Very good. Well, thank you so much for all of the information that you shared with us and your personal experiences as well. I know that's not always easy to do. So I thank you for your candor. I thank you for your transparency and just really sharing your heart with this very sensitive topic. Is there anything that you want to leave the viewing audience with today?
Do what you love and get paid for it.
All right, all right, very good. That's good. That's key. Okay, thank you so much for that. We didn't talk about that, but that lets them know that they definitely can do that. All right, very good. So thank you so much, Miss Toneka, again for joining me today on this episode of Sisters Keeper. I pray that God will bless you with everything that your hand touches and that your heart desires.
Thank you. Amen.
All right, you take care, and I look forward to talking to you and seeing you soon.
Okay. Take care. Be
Thank
blessed.
you too. Bye bye. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me for another successful episode of Sisters Keeper podcast. It was truly a blessing to be able to talk to Miss Toneka and hear about her experiences with being a surrogate. I know it is not for everybody, but for those who have a heart and have a compassion to assist a family in growing and multiplying. The Lord said, be fruitful and multiply. And there are so many ways that that can be done. I pray that you enjoyed this episode, and I look forward to you joining me for another episode of Sister Keepers podcast. God bless you.